Alright, everybody, I am back. Episode 3, and this episode will be dedicated to the 2018 off season. So we finished our season. We went 64 and 98, which is pretty disappointing, to be honest with you guys. We really had a big time sort of limp to the finish line in the second half of the season, and a lot of casualties of sorts along the way. I think maybe most notably, Lucas Giolito tore his elbow ligament, so he'll be out for 10 months. So that puts him out for the majority of next season as well, which is very disappointing. He was actually one of the brighter spots in our rotation, all things considered, especially for a younger pitcher. As far as our prospects go, it's extremely mixed there as well. I think overall, I think the pitchers, it was really kind of a bloodbath. But actually, a lot of the position players are doing quite well. So, Cease, we already knew, tore his flexor tendon in his elbow. Hansen suffered the same injury, unfortunately, and then Dunning as well tore his labrum. So these guys are kind of scary outlooks as far as coming back from that. A few players that I would like to highlight, however, Luis Robert was all right. He still looks like he could be a decent-ish player for us. Maybe not a top-tier one, but at Double-A level, he wasn't too bad. But the two big outfielders I want to talk about are Rutherford. Rutherford was absolutely fantastic in Double-A, and he will start the season in Triple-A. Could be in the majors before we know it. His ratings have all but finished developing, and he looks like he is going to be a very, very solid piece for us in center field, hopefully. So expect him to make his big league debut at some point in 2019. And another player who will likely make his debut in 2019 is Eloy Jimenez, who had a fantastic end of the year in AAA. I debated bringing him up in September, but just decided not to, and that contact in his eyes and his avoid case still have some coming along to do, but Eloy is probably a guy I'm just going to keep down those first couple weeks in 2019, and then he may very well just take the starting spot in left field. So even with those arms looking bad, the fact that they are playing well really still means there's a lot of value to be had in this farm system in the very near future. Also, Zach Birdie came back from his injury, and in AAA through 13 great innings, he will likely start the season at major league level, and he is going to be sort of used as a relief ace of sorts at that 35 stamina. I could try to throw him as a starter and say, hey, you have like a 90 pitch count, but I would rather use him as a relief ace type for now, or perhaps even trade him. So that's what I'm thinking. Our first round pick, Dinenberg, they kept using him as a reliever. That really pisses me off because he only threw like 7 innings. And they used him as a hitter, honestly, more than as a pitcher, because he is a two-way player. That's frustrating. I need to go ahead and sort of tinker with his what are they called? Game strategy, so that they don't do that. So I should have done that at some point, but unfortunately, I didn't think of doing that. So kind of a lost few weeks in rookie ball for him, but it's not the end of the world for sure. At least it's good that you guys could see that. Luke Mann, third baseman we drafted. He hit poorly. That was our 5th rounder. Trevor Cadd actually did quite well, and he will likely start the next season in A-ball. His contact's really nice. At only age 19, this is a guy who could turn out to be a very good 4th round pick for us. So that's good. And then one of the last players we drafted was Alec Thomas. He was our 2nd round pick. and he hit very well as well. So that's good. And then just to round out the draft, James Bell, the catcher, actually also doing quite well. So, first round pick, we'll see on him, but the others look to be doing all right. It looks like it's not going to be a terrible draft. So, as far as on the Major League club, Jose Abreu was able to turn his season around and have a very solid one. So happy with that. Zach Granite did have some slowdown, but still 2.5 WAR, 360 OBP, really good defense in left field. Like, for me, Zach Granite, and an All-Star game appearance too. I can't understate that. For me, Zach Granite is a guy who was going to come crashing down to earth because I want to take a look at his expanded batting stats. He had like a 377 BABIP around the All-Star break, and it did come down to 349. And his ISO was like 120 or something like that, and now it's 0.091. He's a guy that I could see myself trading this offseason just because as a young cost-controlled player, he's a valuable asset, but I'm not sure if I believe in his long-term outlook with the club, especially with guys like Rutherford and Jimenez sort of lurking in the minor league system. So as much as I've enjoyed having him for, a relative nobody starting pitching prospect, I will probably just flip him for a lot more value than I got him for. So we'll leave it at that. Juancy Perez finished just a little bit above replacement level player. He started in center for most of the year. Fontana, 1.3 wins. Like his OBP, that was definitely good, and defense was good. In the future, maybe more of a utility player for us than a starter, but this year he was a starter. Luis Garcia was actually had a really good start to the year, kind of limped to the end, but yeah. Delmonico showed a lot of power. He hit 34 jacks, so that was cool. Another guy whose long-term outlook with the club I'm not sure about because I'm just not crazy about these ratings. He finished with a 321 OBP, which is right around league average, but the fact that his contact is below average, his average of void Ks is not great. I would expect someone with these stats to have closer to a 300 OBP, which doesn't excite me too much. Castillo, 26 home runs, but only 87 OPS plus. But honestly, still pretty good. Still pretty good year for him. He started out hotter. He kind of fell off at the end. Avi, great year, really solid, just all around. Can't complain. And then Moncada had an interesting year. Overall, I would say I'm quite pleased with this year for Moncada. The 24 home runs were there. The average wasn't quite there, but his OBP was really good. I would have liked to see, a little more gap power, a few more doubles from him, but it was quite a good year from him, all things considered. And leadoff probably isn't the most natural spot for him in this lineup, so for him to put up a 346 OBP from leadoff was actually quite good. So rotation was poor. I told you guys about Giolito already. It's a shame. It is a real shame, but Fulmer pitched well, so he still seems like he's going to be a guy with a positive outlook. And Lucas Giolito just suffered this injury. That's why he's still in the rotation. Sorry about that. Also, Cleveland won our division by a landslide, and Minnesota grabbed the second wild card spot. Interestingly enough, the Rays grabbed the first one, so that's pretty shocking, all things considered. And Boston failed to qualify. So now we're going to very quickly send through the playoffs. Indians. Well, the curse has been broken. Well done. Well done for them. They probably deserved it. They were a very good team. My score is 140. so that's bad. But now that we finally made it through the whole year, we get to go through a full off season. And I do see something very bad on my screen right now, of something very, very bad that's going to really absolutely cripple our off season. But one thing at a time, I guess, would be what I have to say. But for me right now, at least I'll be able to go through an off season and sort of mold this team into my own. So the thing that I see is that my budget has been absolutely slashed, and no doubt because of poor attendance, no doubt because that poor attendance was driven by a poor team record. Yeah, we were 30th in attendance, so a lot of work to do. I don't want to make too many excuses. But as I said in the last episode, when you inherit a team 2 days before opening day, it's very hard to mold that team into your vision. So today really begins, in a way, the first steps to create that vision for a team and really start wheeling and dealing. So that new budget is absolutely brutal. A team payroll of $42 million. Oh God, that is gonna be tricky. That may mean trading the likes of Castillo, and it probably means not extending Abreu. So, yeah, long way to go here. James Shields' option year decision needed. He's retired. Okay, so no decision there. What's this say? Okay, so we can keep Soria for $10 million. Soria is good, but obviously I'm not going to pay a quarter of my payroll to a relief pitcher. So pretty easy answer there. Now let's go arbitrate. I have a arbitration tutorial for those of you who do not know about my tutorial series, but that's kind of how I got my start here on YouTube. This is not necessarily to complement that, but just to add some new OOTP material. These are our free agents: Miguel Gonzalez, Franklin Gutierrez, who was poor, but he did hit 26 home runs. Josh Stoll, who was basically just to be a captain. Soria, we talked about already. All right. Well, let's arbitrate, shall we? Yeah, so for Abreu right now, yeah, he's just gotta go, and it's a real shame. It is a real shame. So we're gonna see what kind of offers we can get from. This is only gonna piss off the fans more because everyone likes him. I think we may just extend him and then trade him, if that makes sense. That may be the way to go about doing this. Yolmer Sanchez wants a lot of money for a guy who hit 180, so that's a no. Keep in mind we've got to be incredibly frugal right now, so these are going to be some tough decisions. Cedeno, there's no reason why him for 850 makes sense. Avilon, even though I like him, can't be paying relief pitchers, that kind of money. Rodon is actually one I would maybe like to keep around, to be honest with you guys. The peripherals weren't too bad despite the 6.8 ERA. So I will make an offer for him, and what I'll do is I'll just offer him the very tiniest raise from last season. So, yeah. Farquhar, nope. Sorry, Danny. Get well soon in real life. Bruce Rondon, once again, no. Garcia is another one where the fans do quite like him, but actually locally insignificant. So that makes it getting rid of him a little bit easier. The problem with Abreu is that he is very popular with the fans. So. And as I said, with our attendance being as low as it is, yeah, it's a poor outlook right now. Garcia, That was not my door. It sounded like it was my door. All right, Garcia, which is who we were with. Yeah, we're using him as a utility guy, type guy, and I could use Reyes similarly, and it will cost me 550,000 instead of over $1 million. So normally these are guys I would still be taking on, but it's just like I have to be so frugal right now. It sucks, but it's true. Garcia, 2-win season. This is. Can I see? Okay. What's the service time? Let me get back to the arbitration screen. 5 years, 160 damage. Okay, so he's been through the whole arbitration thing before. I think 9.4 is a lot. I think 8.4 is all right. Probably going to trade him anyway, so not the biggest deal. Abreu now at 5 years. He did play quite well still. I'm going to bring it down to 15.5. And actually, before I truly submit on those guys, I'm going to offer them contracts and see what they would do. Abreu wants 18 million. That's not happening. Garcia wants 10 million. That's also not happening. So. All right. Oh, and Matt Davidson, terrible, but would not cost very much money to keep around. But yeah, a player of his quality will not be hard to come by on potentially a minor league contract. So yeah, so Rodon, Abreu, and Garcia are the only guys we're gonna be submitting on. Abreu and Garcia are probably gonna be traded. So yeah, a bleak outlook. The outlook is bleak. What I will do now is at least offer up all these minor league guys minor league extensions if they want them, or at least if they played well. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and then I will meet you guys at the end of arbitration. And the end of arbitration also being the dawn of free agency. So I'll see you then. All right, arbitration time. The arbiter sided with the player Garcia in that case. Abreu was awarded 15.9 million, but we offered him 15.5, so not a huge deal. And we won in the case of Rodon. So yeah, like I said, Abreu and Garcia, these two combined is more than half our payroll. So they probably got to go, sadly. So we'll work on deals for getting them out of town, as well as probably a few other players. The name of the game right now being acquiring good, young, cost-controlled major league talent and minor league talent. So that's what we're all about. Disappointing outcome altogether. Felt like this team was closer to being a contender than it actually is. So some of that's my fault. But let's get this show on the road. We still got Jimenez. We still got Rutherford to look forward to. I think those guys are both going to make a big impact next year, sooner rather than later. All right, free agency. On we go. All right, we found our shit. Nope, I lied. All right, we found our Jose Abreu trade. We're going to trade him and the formerly injured Jake Berger, now not so exciting prospect, seemingly, Jake Berger. for Joe Gray Jr., who was the Nationals' third-round draft pick in 2018. Looks to be a pretty toolsy player, so yeah, a young prospect we will get, and most importantly, we get into the green as far as our budget space available. So disappointing. Perhaps it would have been wise for me to move Abreu at the deadline. That's possible, but he also wasn't playing particularly well until the last 2 months of the season either. So you know what? You live, you learn, and we will be getting Gray Jr. in return. I think Abreu will be due to be a free agent next season. So that's what's going on. Let's do it. Sorry, White Sox fans, both in game and in real life.